Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1198A, and today's date is February 7th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Everything is Almost in Place. The Economic Crisis is About to Begin. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, yesterday we were talking about Greece and how Varoufakis was out there telling Cyprus that they need to make a parallel system. And you need to really think about, why is he talking about a parallel system? Because there are other countries that created parallel systems, China, Russia, and other countries are looking at this saying, you know something, maybe we shouldn't depend on the euro. Maybe we should have other currencies. China, Russia were saying, maybe we shouldn't depend on the dollar. Maybe we should depend on our own currency. And the reason for this is because they realize and they understand that as we move throughout this year, as more and more people are waking up, as countries start to vote away the government that they have right now, they understand that things are going to rapidly deteriorate. Because the central bankers, they don't take too kindly when you try to get rid of them. They want the system. They've been around for hundreds or thousands of years, and they like their system. They become very wealthy. They put countries into debt, and they like the control. And what we're seeing right now is Greece is actually, they're planning a default on a 74 billion euro loan right now. And because what they're saying is that the original deal brokered wasn't really in Greece's best interest. Well, it's never been in Greece's best interest. Actually, all these deals that the EU, the Fed, the IMF, all these deals that they broker is never in the best interest of the people and the country. It's in the best interest for them. Their product is debt. They want the hard assets. They want the people to suffer. They like austerity. It makes the country weak. A weak country is easy to pillage. It's easy to take what they want. And we can see that throughout Europe, countries, they're starting to fail. The economy is weakening in each one of these countries. It has been for a very long time. We've gone through a lot of manipulation, and the manipulation, well, those numbers, they're not even making sense anymore for what's really going on in the economy. When we look out in Germany, we see industrial production. Well, that's plunged most since 2009. And things are not going well there. I mean, we look at the figures which exclude construction, which is comparable to the industrial production data reported by Eurostat. It declined by an even greater 3.1%. The contraction was largely driven by capital goods, which subtracted 2 percentage points from their headline figures. So what we're looking at right now is Europe's largest economy. The region's growth driver faces a series of risks that may damp output in the coming months. So we can see at this point, we're seeing many countries where the economy is starting to slow dramatically. And it's going to continually slow. The U.S. has been slowing, but you have to understand, they've been manipulating, keeping us in this illusion, being pumped up with drugs. Because as you give more and more drugs to someone who's on drugs, they feel good. It doesn't fix the problem. Because when the drugs wear off, guess what happens? You have the pain. You have the reversal of that feeling. And that's what's happening now. All that manipulation, all that pumping in of this free money, well, it's coming to an end. And it's not working the way it used to work. People are starting to realize, hey, they're telling us the economy's doing well. They're telling us that everything is fine. Why am I still out of work? Why do the EU countries still have an unemployment around 9-10%? I mean, think about this for a second. Over the many years, 8 years, it fluctuated 9.5, all the way up to 10.5. Has it really gotten better? No. Greece since 2008. What, they fluctuated between 25 or 23% and 30%. That's not getting better. Yes, they're trying to convince us that it's getting better, but it really isn't. Here in the United States, it's a completely different story because they completely manipulate everything, especially the job numbers. And what we're seeing right now is that the pace of hiring appears to have tapered off after hitting cycle highs in February at 5.5 million and remaining at levels largely unchanged over the last 2 years. The pace of job additions has been declining in the past 2 years. Net hiring also appears to have plateaued. And we've seen this before, where everything is plateauing, things start to decline. And this was back in 2006, going into 2007, and then we had the Great Recession in 2008. Well, this time, we have a lot more manipulation, but we're seeing the same exact patterns. Discharge and other layoffs jumped by 16,000 in December, rising to 1.6 million, the third consecutive monthly increase. And we're seeing that employers right now appear to be finally accelerating terminations of workers. This is not a good sign. We see the Atlanta Fed. They have cut the first quarter GDP right now from 3.4 already to 2.7. We're not hitting that 5%. That's an impossibility at this point. Maybe when we have the reset and everything starts over, yes, maybe at that point we might hit 5%. Well, we have to bring back all the jobs, manufacturing, and there's a lot to go with it. But right now, in this current economy, well, it's not going anywhere. The U.S. economy is going to be rolling over. Because, remember, we talked about it, employment growth has turned negative at the S&P 500 companies. And we talked about the tax receipts. And when we look at the information, we see that the tax receipts, the federal government current tax receipts, have been declining since 2010. The state taxes have been declining since 2010. Now, going back to 2010, we see the percentage of tax returns was around 20%. Today, it's around 3%. The state taxes were around 10%. Today, they're around 2%. And they're continually declining. Now, think about this for a second. They've been telling us that employment has been fine, that the unemployment from 2010 moving forward went from something like 9-10% all the way down to 4.8%. So we had falling unemployment numbers, and the tax receipts have been declining rapidly over this period of time. Going from federal tax receipts, going from 20% in 2010 to 10% in 2013 to 9% in 2015. Beginning of 2016, it was below zero, then popped up a little bit to 3%. How could this be possible if we're almost at full employment and everyone is happy and working? Well, we know these numbers are fake. We know a lot of people who went from a full-time job making a lot of good money, because you have to remember, when you make good money, you're taxed more. I mean, there are some people that get around it, but majority of the people will have the taxes taken out of their paycheck, and it goes to the government. When you get a job that doesn't pay as much, like a part-time job, well, it's less taxes taken out that are sent to the government. When you don't have a job, well, that's very easy. That's just zero. And this is exactly what we're seeing. So the idea that the U.S. economy is about to explode higher based on Trump taking office, well, that's completely off base right now. And what we've been seeing with Trump, he's preparing for the economy after the entire system collapses. He's preparing to bring jobs back. He's preparing to bring manufacturing back. He's preparing all of this for after the system implodes, not for this present economy. And that's where we're headed right now, because we can see right now there's a battle going on. Who's going to bring down the economy? Who is it going to be blamed on? And who's going to restart it? Is it going to be the central bank economy? Or is it going to be the people's economy? And this is the battle we have going on right now. For all those individuals who believe that everything is fine right now, that everything's going to just work out, well, I would start preparing right now. Because we're hearing from a lot of people that are looking at the data, looking at what's going on, realizing that Trump is continually pushing out more and more truth bombs, saying that eventually what's going to happen is the plug is going to be pulled one way or another. And it depends on the narrative of the story. But what we're seeing right now is the preparation for this. And they can't wait too long, because they can't wait for something to come out of left field. And we can see it is a race to see who brings the system down first. Who is to blame? How the system is restarted. And we're going to go through pain. We're going to go through a period of time where it's not going to be pleasant. It's like someone who's been on drugs, who's been cut off of the drug, who's been cut off of the free money. What's going to happen is that people are going to feel the withdrawal, the pain, just like someone who's been on the drugs. And when you remove that free currency, when you remove all of it and the manipulation goes away, well, what do you see? Well, you see reality. You see what's really going on, and that's when the pain starts. That's when the withdrawal starts. And it's going to be very difficult for many people. And what is happening today is people, they're having a very difficult time accepting what is about to happen. Yes, we hear people making fun of different things that Trump is saying, ridiculing him, making fun of what other administration members are saying. And you have to remember, all this is because they don't want to accept what is going on. They can't, because their whole entire world is based on what the central bank, what the other administrations, what the corporate media has been telling them. And when the truth comes out, it's going to be very, very difficult. And this next crisis is not going to be like 2008. This next crisis is going to be much, much larger. It's not going to be not just an economic crisis. It's going to be an overhaul of everything. And this is why everyone needs to get prepared and ready, because we're going to see inflation. We're going to see store shelves empty. We're going to see credit freeze up. We're going to see all of these things happen all at once. It's going to be a very difficult time. And it's going to be a period of time where people are going to have to make decisions, because people are going to be losing jobs. The government will not be able to support people. And people are going to have a very tough time, and they're going to pop. They will not be able to take what is happening. And it's already beginning, because you can see how people are reacting. The anger, the frustration, just the name calling. And as we move through this, it's just going to get worse before it gets better. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.